Hey, welcome back here to the Central PA Pour. I am Brett, and off to my right,
I'm Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, in case you forgot this time. I'm Tony.
And as you can see, no Kevin. So where's Kevin? I think as we're recording this, I think him and Ben went to a Notre Dame game.
Went to a Notre Dame game. Watch Notre Dame. I don't even know the score of the game.
I don't either. Hopefully they lost. I'm not a fighting Irish guy.
Wow.
I'm not a Pitt Panther guy.
Sorry to hear that. You know, we're 6-0.
So is Penn State.
Yeah, that's unique. But anyway.
Anyways, make sure you give us a like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. That's Central PA Pour on our YouTube audio platforms. And this is in November, and we are still participating and help promote the Hops and Vines for Hunger. And you can find out all that information at feedingpa.org and click on the Hops and Vines for Hunger. They've raised over $65,000 since 2021, since the installation of this program. We had Aaron Hofke on here to talk about it. It is a great way to go out there, support the local community, the brew pubs, the wineries, and also help our fellow Pennsylvanians who are in need. All the money will go back to the food banks to help feed the Pennsylvanians that are in need. So make sure you check out that Hops and Vines for Hunger.
It's a good program.
It was a good program. We're happy to participate in any way we can to help promote that. What's going on right now, Dave?
Nothing special.
Nothing special?
Yeah, just enjoying the weather so far.
It is, wow, as we're recording this, we were at Oktoberfest yesterday.
It was fantastic.
Oh, my God. Weather, you couldn't have asked for better weather.
Yep.
Crowd was good compared to last year's Oktoberfest when you all stuffed me to let me do it by myself, and it was raining and cold.
Yeah, well, you picked a short straw, remember?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. But no, we had a good time. Our next event will probably be the Winter Brew Fest, probably in February, if they're going to do that down at the Double Barrel Roadhouse.
Yep, DB.
Yeah, So, anyways, make sure you give us a like, subscribe. Like I said, at Central PA Pour. And as we were sitting here talking about Penn State Pitt, we have a Penn Stater in here.
I'm outnumbered.
You're outnumbered today, baby. All right, so welcome to the Central PA Pour. John from Anti-Fragile, Penn State, downtown.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what Anti-Fragile is.
So I'm a Penn Stater through and through. I grew up outside of Philly, did my undergrad, went down to D.C. for a couple years, went back, did my law degree and MBA, went into private wealth, was always into craft beer. In my undergrad, I built a kegerator my junior year. We had Delirium Tremens on tap at my senior year. We had Magic Hat number 9. It was I'm dating myself now a little bit.
Who was it that was Emily from Englewood, Magic Hat number 9?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was an iconic beer, and Lord knows what happened to Magic Hat. But I think
you can still buy it.
I think they're only brewing Magic Hat number 9 now.
Yeah, you can still buy it.
Yep.
That's awesome. So you were a graduate and you were into the wealth management side of it. What the hell made you want to open a brewery?
I got exposure to raising private capital. I'm also an attorney. I do estate planning law, but I started digging into the regulations. It was conducive. We started in kombucha, and
I saw
it kind of migrated from there. So, kind of a long story, but beer was always an interest. I learned how to raise private capital, put my own in, navigate the regulations, and kind of pursuing a passion project on that.
And what made you pick the location, downtown State College?
Before COVID, we were looking at being outside of town a little bit, spending a lot more money going 10 barrel. I already had a 1 barrel system for kombucha in my basement, and we wanted to go small. We wanted to be anti-fragile, not take big risks. Build a brand, proof of concept, and we're doing it.
That's awesome. So you're maintaining the smaller barrel system?
Yeah, we have 1 barrel brew house and 12 2-barrel fermenters. We have 18 1-barrel fermenters that we do kombucha and hard kombucha in as well.
So it means you got to brew quite a bit.
My brewer's working. He's brewing about 3 days a week, packaging,
Yeah.
dry hop. He has a full-time gig. We have an assistant for him that mainly runs the kombucha, but also helps him out on the beer side too.
That's awesome. And this is this is what we love about this is the stories. They're all different.
Yep.
And, here you are, an attorney with, background in wealth management and that kind of stuff. We need some pointers on how to wealth manage our not-for-profit business.
Hey, I'm a business guy. I'm passionate about craft beer, although I find myself drinking less and less of it now that it's always around.
Oh,
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's great to experience, but it's a business, and I look at it from that perspective. And we all have our different strategies, and people have different motivations for getting into
Sure.
it.
and it's all about what you want it to be.
Yep.
Do you want it to be a 15, 20 barrel system, or you want to keep it small and under control and just have fun with it?
I'd like to get to a 15-barrel farm brewery.
A farm brewery. Okay.
Yeah, in State College, we don't have a lot of industrial buildings. We have a lot of land. So
Ah,
it would involve working through, zoning changes and code rewrites and things like that. But I think there's opportunity there, and people love to be outside. If COVID taught people anything, people want to be outside.
Yeah.
yeah. What were you thinking about growing?
In the State College area.
No, I
State
mean, what product? I know for farm brewing, you have to have a product that you grow.
well water is a product from the land.
Oh, okay.
Beer is 90% water.
90% water, you're correct.
No, I mean, we don't have the infrastructure to grow grain and have
okay.
grain, milled and what.
Yeah, that's a project.
Yeah. There's maltsters out there. It's not efficient, and there's great maltsters that we can buy from commercially. Pennsylvania's not known for the type of hops that are really hot right now, and the hazy IPAs, and even the noble hops. You can get decent hops, but you're not going to get German or Czech quality out of Pennsylvania.
No.
We'd do something with hops, but that would probably be what we grew.
So what's some of your are the recipes that you developed yours, or were they a combination of your brewer or whoever?
So I am not a brewer.
Oh.
I know how to brew kombucha. I do not know how to brew beer. Our brewer's from Brazil.
Oh.
We sponsored his green card to come here. He was a Rotary Exchange student at a neighboring school district. He stayed close with his host family. I met him on one of his trips when we were looking at doing a brewery. That was, 2 years into kombucha. And the only way to get it out of my basement would have been a beer brewery. It's the direction I wanted to move. It took 3 years to get his green card in the process. He got married, had a kid. We sponsored their green cards to come here.
Wow.
That's kind of cool.
He went from a 20 barrel to a 1 barrel, but he got a green card.
He probably walked in and says, "Where is it? Where is the brewery?"
He put this brewery on the map, but they were rated number 1 on the Untapped equivalent in Brazil for 4 straight years.
Wow.
He started as an intern. The brewer walked out, and they said, "Hey, kid, you want to try brewing beer?"
That's kind of cool.
He jumped in. He's a super talented guy. He didn't bring. I think he brought 1 recipe with him. That was for a Munich Dunkel. Everything else, he's creating recipes on the fly. We've done over 100 beers in the 2.5 years we've been open.
And I still see. Are you still doing the kombucha then?
Kombucha, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't brew it. I'm way too busy to do that. But we have probably about 10 kombuchas. We can it. We sell it in draft, mainly to other accounts, but we do serve it in our tap room.
Because I found that interesting. Not a lot of places have that kind of stuff. They'll have guest taps on, whether it's a cider or something. But yeah, I never saw it that they had that on. But that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, part of the deciding to do a kombucha brewery was I went up to Vermont on a beer trip with some private wealth clients. We were hitting Hill Farmstead, Foam, etc. They all had kombucha on not Hill, but a bunch of them had kombucha on tap. All the markets that were chasing down Hetty and Focal and Sip, they all had kombucha, and I was like, man, we're really missing out on that. I'm going to give it a go, and off to the races we went. But it's a nice alternative to alcohol. And there's, unfortunately for beer brewers, there's a big, movement away from alcohol amongst the health conscious. So it's
Yes,
nice,
what
it's
is
nice for us.
that? What is it? January is like no drink January, and I'm like, what the fuck, people?
Yeah, we had a guy on it. He couldn't participate in this
because he was doing a dry
he was doing
January.
a dry January.
Okay.
And it was different.
My business coach does that every once in a while. He'll go on and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, we're in the middle of sober October, but we can't
Sober October.
we can't control other people and what they're going to do. But having that option for them, we can capitalize on it.
I was kind of sober leaving Oktoberfest yesterday.
Yeah.
Dave goes, "Are you okay? I should have asked before. We're 3/4 of the way home." Nope, I got it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Now we also do a hard kombucha too.
Okay.
And the big difference from what we're doing versus other kombucherias, like on the West Coast, a lot of them are brewing a 20% seltzer and putting a quarter of that in with their non-alcoholic.
Okay.
We're naturally fermenting it to get to 5.5%.
Oh wow.
So
So-
it doesn't taste like a seltzer.
I know you. As we're sitting here, you just left the beer festival, and we were hoping to have some of your product on here, but we have some of your friends' products here because
Correct.
you said you sold out.
We sold out.
Wow, that's nice. That's a good.
That's a good problem to have.
I don't have to worry about the kegs and how to keep them cold.
It just sucks for us,
True.
Dave.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd have some left, but it was a great turnout. It was at the Stables in Chester Springs. There were a lot of great breweries there.
Yeah.
You know, it just means we're going to have to go to Penn State. We are
Penn
Penn State, and try some Anti-Fragile at their tap room.
I heard the "we are," so I'm just looking at you. I thought you was going to say Marshall, where that came from, but I'm not going to get into that.
So tell us, John, a little bit about this first one we're going to drink.
Yep. So this is a 8.8% double from Threat Beer Company. Right now, they're a social beer project that my friend's running. A couple of my friends. They're not out on the market yet. They're giving away beer and they're catching a lot of attention.
Okay.
I'm excited for them.
It's nice and hazy.
The dry hopping rate is very high.
Oh yeah, I can smell it.
But this is Nelson and Superdelic.
Yeah, glad you
Nelson and Superdelic. I don't think if I've heard of the Superdelic one.
It's pretty new. I think it's a pretty expensive hop. It's just coming on board. I'm not sure where it's from yet.
All right. Well, cheers to
Cheers.
Threat Beer Company. Oh wow, that is
Hop.
very
Really
tropical,
saturated,
and that tropical hop hits you right up front.
Yep.
It's not bearing. It's not overbearing.
No.
No, I mean I've had Troon, I've had Brewhos. This is along those lines, but I like it a little better.
It's almost like drinking a thick grapefruit
Yep.
juice.
Yeah.
But they dry it out. Like Troon,
Oh, it's dry.
Brewhos, they're really sweet. I like how they're drying their beer out. I think it's when they hit the scene, I think they're going to be really popular.
So it sounds like they're looking for a brick and mortar.
They're working on that. Yep.
Okay. And where is Threat Beer Company based out of?
They're going to be in Chester County. They don't know exactly
Okay.
where.
Okay. So growing up in the Philadelphia region,
Yep.
what made you a Penn State fan?
You know, my mom played lacrosse at Penn State.
Okay.
My dad played D1 football at Rutgers. I don't know what happened to my athletic ability. I could have gone D3, but D1 wasn't going to happen. I'd never been to Penn State until my dad took me up to tour it. My mom had not returned to Penn State until she moved me in my freshman year.
Wow.
But growing up, we'd watch Penn State every Saturday. You know, I'm 10 years old watching the '94 team.
That got fucked, by the way. They got fucked from that championship. They should have had at least a share.
Well, hey, Tom Osborne was retiring, and they
I
had,
know.
you know,
I know. Oh, look at Dave.
but
Hey,
yeah,
at least Penn State had a chance at it. Pitt
I'm
never
so-
had a chance at it.
Wait a minute. When I was at school, we were national championships. So shut up.
it's funny. I watch those guys, and Keith Conlon's gotten to be a good friend of mine. He was the left tackle on the
Oh, cool.
offensive line. So met him, got to be friends with him. I'm like, man, I remember your team. They were dynamic. John
they were.
Carter and Kerry Collins,
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Brady,
Yeah, that was a.
Marco Rivera. They put a lot of guys in the pros.
And like you just said, it was a subtle thing to give Tom Osborne his farewell, but fuck Nebraska. I'm sorry.
Don't hold back any, Brett. Just
Oh,
let
I
us know
won't.
how you really feel
I won't.
about it.
When I met, just a lost short story. My wife she had family in Nebraska, and when we first met, she goes, "I'm going out to Nebraska." I said, "Yeah, the corn fuckers."
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, I don't like Nebraska.
I think the
No,
only
I'm
thing
thinking-
that's going on there, other than corn, is the Huskers. But
Yeah,
That's true.
I've ridden through Nebraska on my motorcycle. It's
Flat,
all corn.
right? Flat
It's all
and windy.
corn. Yeah. So that's cool. And you wanted to take this project and put it in downtown State College.
Yeah, the whole idea of the name Anti-Fragile is based on a book by Nassim Taleb, and he's a risk analyst, and it was the worst read I've ever experienced and the best book I've ever read.
So that's kind of an oxymoron there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think he's really smart, and I think he's intentionally dense. But it's all about how you thrive in volatility, how you're beyond resilient. You don't just withstand, but you set yourself up to accelerate. So, putting up a big brewery and taking on a lot of debt, that puts you in a fragile position.
Okay.
I financed it and raised some private capital to do it. We kept our debt load really low, and the biggest lesson that I'm learning is you make money by, saving up front and, grow it and make
letting
it
the business
nicer with
grow
your
it.
profits.
Yeah, letting the
Yep.
business grow itself.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about these breweries closing. I think there's a lot of breweries in Pennsylvania, and we may be oversaturated, but you have too much debt service, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, we've talked about that numerous times.
Yeah, we did.
Like, so we've been doing this almost 3 years, and we saw the rise of the peak, and
Yep.
then we've seen the peak, and I think it's peaked. I'm hoping it doesn't crash because we love this scene,
Yep.
but I think people have opened up. Like you said, they went in. Like, if I'm going to do something, like you can see, I don't dip my toe. I'm just like jump in
Yeah, you
and
got quite a studio here.
I'll deal with the frickin' repercussions as it goes. But I think that's what you just mentioned that because some of the breweries went way over the top to get the top-notch equipment and the biggest building and all that stuff. And next thing you know, you're oversaturated and you don't have the clientele to maintain a profitable business day to day.
Yeah, I walk into these breweries, and the first thing that I look at now is how are they making money? Are they ever going to see a payback? Their beer can be great. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of great breweries out there.
Yeah. Yep. And fortunately, there are some that are closing, but there are some that are expanding and coming back and opening up. So I hope the trend has run its course.
Yeah, I think we'll see some shakeout, and I think you'll see the good operators and the good breweries survive. I don't think you'll see a decline in quality. We'll see what happens, but things are getting tough economically. There's less discretionary income.
Oh yeah.
Inflation's just gutting the consumer.
They don't
and-
have that COVID free money right now.
No, things have changed.
Things have changed.
Things have changed.
I'm in the auto repair business and I'm very transparent with my staff.
Yep.
We have meetings and I will tell them here's our goal. Here's where we're currently at. Here's what we need to do to hit our goal by the end of the year, and this is what we need to do per day to hit that goal. So I'm very transparent so the staff knows that this is a profitable business, and if the more money that the business makes, the more money they can make.
Yep.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
I'm really transparent with my staff. My bartenders, my cheesesteak guys, they know the numbers. They want to know it, and it's like a competition. And they know what we have to do.
Speaking of cheesesteaks, I
Yes.
saw that on your website.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that story. And now, are they in house, or are they brought in from outside of an outside source, or are they from your kitchen?
Well, that is our kitchen. The front patio is our kitchen.
Okay.
We turn the existing kitchen into a brewery. We store the beef and cheese and cut onions in the back. We have a lot. So being in downtown State College, I'll revisit that. After COVID, we looked at, well, it's kind of easy to make beer. It's not that easy to sell it. And We wanted to go small. We had the equipment. We didn't want to overextend ourselves. In that strip, there's a lot of restaurants and takeout restaurants, and we were like, okay, people just bring food in, whatever. We'd encourage it. People would wind up leaving.
Right.
So when the Birds were in the Super Bowl, my buddy and I had split a Wagyu and had a bunch of chip steak laying around, and we were like, let's do cheesesteaks for your party. I'll go pick up a flat top. If it goes well and it's easy and we can pull it off, I'm gonna start doing cheesesteaks on my patio.
There you go.
So the day after our first birthday, we launched our cheesesteaks. I really thought it would be, just to kind of to support our customers. We're in downtown State College, and the kids love these cheesesteaks. So we're staying open until 2:30, 3 in the morning on big going out nights, and they're just, it's beyond belief how much it's taken off.
That's
Great.
awesome.
But
great.
like our beer, we're focused on quality. I worked with our local baker to get the rolls how I want them, and see the options. I work with a butcher shop to get choice graded beef, and then Cooper cheese you really can't go wrong with. But and then it's just put the good ingredients together and make sure that the guys on the grill are doing it right.
My first experience in Philadelphia, went to a Phillies game with some friends of mine, and we went to. It wasn't Gino's and stuff like that. It was underneath the overpass near the stadium.
Tony Luke's
Tony
on
Luke's.
Oregon Avenue. Yeah.
And I remember going in there, and I never ordered a cheesesteak in Philadelphia. And he said, you just walk up, you say with or without. That's all you need to say, and you move to the side.
Yep.
It reminded me of the fucking soup Nazi from Seinfeld. And if you didn't pay attention, they were moving you to the side. But yeah, my wife hates cheesesteaks because they use liquid cheese.
Well, you don't have to.
I know
You
they
have to
don't.
do
I know
whiz.
they don't. But to me, just it's liquid gold.
Yeah.
I will drink that liquid gold. I don't care, man. I think it's awesome that you brought like a Philadelphia tradition into State College, and that the students are loving it.
Yeah, they're hammering it. It's hard to keep up. It's hard to have enough space. So we gotta figure out what to
do you find the student body visiting your spot a lot more for the beer or the food?
Primarily only the food.
Only the food.
So a few of them might come in and grab a beer. Most of them are grabbing the cheesesteaks to go. We're feeding the D line. So that may be why they're so successful.
That's a day's project and a half, right? Just keeping the D line and the offensive line and with a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the athletes will come down. We've done some catering for the football team during the summer during workouts.
Oh, that is awesome.
Lacrosse team, hockey team.
That's great. And I mean, I think you got the perfect location. And Penn State has success. In order for them to have more success, they need to get over that hump. And that hump is Ohio State.
Ohio State's good.
Oh, they are. They are. But fuck the Buckeyes. I'm sorry.
I'm no fan, but I'm really excited. I think with the tight win over USC, they come back to a bye week. Then they face Wisconsin on the road. I think that should be, they play the game for a reason, but that should be a win. They come into Ohio State undefeated. Town is going to be bonkers.
Yeah, and what does that mean for your business? Does it help with not just the student body, but does it help with the visitors and stuff coming up to the game? Does it help your business model?
Oh, absolutely. There's a thing in downtown State College where a lot of locals don't like to go downtown. That doesn't mean that we're not getting regulars, but a lot of people avoid downtown that live there. When people are coming in for events, concerts, hockey games, especially football games, we're flooded. We're busy starting Friday, sometimes Thursday evening, and then definitely Friday afternoon. Noon kicks are great. People come downtown afterwards. The night games are a little softer, but
yeah, I remember. I don't remember.
when you go from a tiny city to the third largest city in Pennsylvania on a game day, it changes things.
Yeah. And I say I don't remember because the last time I went to a state college to watch a football game, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
No, I don't. It was a pretty brutal night.
I'd like to get back to the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started tailgating before the game, tailgating in the game, taking rum and cokes and Pepsi bottles. And then I don't remember much after that. I remember tapping my buddy on the shoulders, like, you better pull over. And it must have been the worst spot on 322 that I had him pull over. And I didn't make it out the door.
Oh,
It was a bad night. Like I said, I don't remember.
is he still your buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're still good friends.
You know, you had mentioned about feeding the D line and the O line. It's kind of funny how my daughter-in-law, my son has a business interest in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
That they do, consulting, restaurants, real estate, and all the crap. I don't even know how he keeps up with it. But they have a catering business also in that complex, and she sent me a little picture how they just delivered the food to the entire University of Pittsburgh football team.
Oh, wow.
For the after game.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought that was great. And
That
she
is
said,
awesome.
We're just picking that up, and I said, that's great. Now, when you need somebody to help with the, unloading it off the truck at the Steeler game, just call me. I'll be there.
Hey, and I know it's based on Central PA, and I'm a Philly guy. Pittsburgh's a good beer town.
I tell you what,
Yes.
it is. We had Trace Brewing on here before.
Oh, they're great.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Adam Stormer was a great guest. My son lives in Pittsburgh. Your son lives in Pittsburgh. I went out there, and I didn't even hit some of the main breweries I wanted to hit. So it's going to have to be a second visit. It's a great beer town.
Yeah. Yep.
And you mentioned when we started this, it's just the Central PA area, but we'll record with anybody because the stories are unique. The product's great, and we're just here to make sure that the stories get told.
Yeah.
And we just love this side of it.
Yeah, we have a collab coming with Stick City out of Mars, Pennsylvania. They make great beer. They're a little removed. They're up in Butler County.
Okay.
But, we were excited about that one. It's a New Zealand Pilsner that's coming out. I think it's...
New Zealand Pilsner.
They
Wow.
don't do anything close to bad. Everything's coming out of there is really good, so we're excited for that one.
Well, speaking of second beer, we got another one here, and you said this is from...
Hidden River in
Hidden
Douglasville.
River?
They're a great brewery. We collaborated with them for our beer festival. Great guys. We really like them.
This one is called Void Call.
Mm-hmm.
It is a double India Pale Ale.
Probably around 8%. They don't miss. So at the beer festival, when I ran out, I talked to my buddies with Threat, and I was like, throw me a couple cans. I'm going on this podcast. I went to Bryant at Hidden River. I'm like, throw me a couple cans. I'm going on this. We have to have something to drink. I don't have anything. So I'd rather support my buddies than drink.
Sure.
Well, we may have to even get them on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think you should.
We need a hookup. Cheers.
Cheers.
To Void Call from Hidden River. Oh, that's got some hop in it.
Yep.
That's almost like a West Coast double.
They're good. Hidden River is
It's
good.
It's very juicy though.
Yep.
It's got a nice thick mouth feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
but that hops accentuates the back end.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn between that and the threat one.
But
Actually-
again, there's so many good breweries out there, and everybody's got a little different style, but I
And
think they're awesome.
It like I did a red IPA,
Mhm.
and I compared it to Desperate Times, which is from Carlisle. They
Okay.
have a red IPA, and I think I used a different hop profile than theirs because other than that, and right there is the red IPA. So look, palate, everything was the same except that theirs was a lot more hoppier.
Got it.
So I used,
I'll show everybody there.
I think I used a Simcoe and Cascade were the two that I used. So, and it depends on the hops.
Yep.
That's what we've learned from doing this. The hops bring a lot to the party.
Absolutely, and when you're putting them in the boil or the whirlpool, it makes a difference,
Like
especially
a-
with the IPA.
Yeah, like a
Or the
Dogfish 90 or 120.
Right. Yep.
The longer you boil that hop, the more it's going to get.
Bitter.
I don't know. That 120 is pretty smooth, though. It ain't
Oh, there's so much sugar. It's just-
18.1%. That's that's just a one beer sipper.
yeah, there's so much residual sugar remaining in that.
Yeah.
Their malt bill's so high, it's going to be sweeter and it's going to hide the hop.
You may be surprised, but I
You drank them all.
drank them all.
Jesus.
I am not a huge fan of hoppy beers, but I'll drink them.
Well, let's fill you
but
back
Huh? The first one actually, I preferred it, and that was the one that you said that you actually dry hopped. The first one we had.
They did. Both of these IPAs are heavily dry hopped, but the Threat is heavily dry hopped.
Yeah.
Sure.
You want any more?
Yeah.
And even being heavily dry hopped, I kind of preferred it over the second one, which was good also. And like you said, it had a good mouthfeel.
The alcohol's higher in the Threat too.
Yeah, and this is what we love about this. I mean, there's so many. A lot of these people have started. You started how do you say kombucha?
Kombucha. Yep.
And what is kombucha? It's like it's with honey.
No, you can make it with honey. It's a fermented tea. So
Okay.
we do a honey kombucha, which is called a Jun or a June. We do most of ours with just a white sugar fermentation.
And what made you start doing that? You couldn't buy it, right?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I got a free ticket to the Super Bowl in San Francisco from a roommate
nice.
from college that works for NFL Network. So I went out, and I'm a beverage enthusiast. I love red wine, so I went to Napa, did that for a few days, did all the Super Bowl parties, and at the Oxbow Market in Napa, I discovered a kombucha, lemon ginger, that I liked, and I came home and I got another kombucha. I'm like, this is terrible. So I tried to get that kombucha back in Pennsylvania, couldn't do it, and then went on YouTube one night. My parents were up and we were just hanging out drinking some New England IPAs that my buddy brought back to me. I think we were drinking Hetty and Sip and Focal and Fiddlehead, and I was like, I need to go on YouTube and learn how to make kombucha.
Okay.
So went on YouTube, learned how to make kombucha, dialed it in, and my friends would take it, my coworkers would take it, and I'd have none left. So I bought a second 7-gallon carboy and started making it in that. A coffee shop owner got a hold of it. He was like, "Are you going to start selling this? Because I'll carry it." Sure.
Whoa.
So
Now, with that being said, did you have to go get a license to be able to sell it?
I had to get a health license.
So
we can do it home based, and so it resided in my basement. I had a brew house. I had 2-barrel jacketed tanks, and I had 12 1-barrel unit tanks that we were doing kombucha in. Brought my business partner into it. She's creative. She's more of an artist and more of a marketer, and I was content to stick with lemon ginger. She came up with all the flavors, and that kind of migrated into a beer project, and here we are.
And there you are, Anti-Fragile in State College.
I like the name.
I do like the
That's
name.
cool.
I
do
like
the
it.
name.
Our marketing team, they did a great job on the logo. It's a Hydra with like an A up.
I did see that.
They're
And we have it right above us over here.
Yep.
It's above Dave's head.
But they
Wait a
were
minute.
initially they
See
were
if I
like,
could do it.
Yeah. Nope.
No,
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. That's funny because you're looking at the monitors and everything's backwards.
but people were like, don't use a negative thing, and I'm like, it's not negative, and we're gonna use it. It
So-
just means opposite of fragile when you put anti in front
Now,
of it.
this connection came from Vicky Jeffers from Brewery Products.
Yep.
You guys did a Hoppy Valley Festival.
Happy Valley Brewers Fest.
And were you part of the organization of that, or was
Yeah.
it your brew fest?
No, it was my idea. My buddy's one of the deputy athletic directors at Penn State, and I took my idea to him, and he said, why don't you talk to the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau and the Sports and Entertainment Alliance that I'm on the board of? They have the resources that can help you pull it off. So Anti-Fragile partnered with the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, which is our tourism board, and the Sports and Entertainment Alliance, which is a new thing. They're, bringing Iron Man to Penn State. They're helping to bring Luke Combs last spring to Penn State. So utilizing the Penn State infrastructure to put on more events up there.
Do you hear that, Dave? Penn State. Not
So
I heard him.
it's special walking on that field, and I spent 2 straight days on that field, and I'm content to not go back until next year.
So is the Hoppy Valley Fest right in Beaver Stadium, or is it in the parking lot?
No, it's on the field.
It's on the
At
field.
Beaver Stadium. Yep.
Wow.
Surprised.
We had 3,200 paid attendees, and we had 73 breweries, some out of state, but mostly Pennsylvania.
Wow.
It was awesome getting to meet a lot of breweries and contact them, and there's a great brewing community in the state, and it's just so big. It provided a nice way to get to meet them. We did a brewer's reception the night before. It was catered. We had the best beer selection in Pennsylvania because these brewers just brought cans upon cans, and there was anything you wanted.
That is a story in itself, and kudos.
Yep.
What date was that this past year?
That was May 11th. We're targeting a date in May. With the stadium renovations, athletics is trying to figure out as quickly as possible what date's going to work. But
We may have to put the Hoppy Valley Festival on our calendar.
oh, you can't
Sure.
miss it.
Yeah.
We may have to come up and do some recording there.
But my buddy wrote a bunch of songs for Luke Combs. He just had a Zach Brown cut,
Huh.
and
Really?
I brought
Dude, you're connected, man.
I brought him and 2 of his buddies up that I've gotten to know. They played the VIP in an hour and a half. They played the Brewers reception the night before.
Christ. Hey, if we decide if it's a date we can make, do we get in part of that Brewers connection?
Yeah, we could bring you in for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be cool. I could wear my pit jersey.
Well,
Fuck that.
I wouldn't do that. You don't wear blue and gold, and you don't wear red and white in State College. that way we have Michigan, Pitt, and Notre Dame covered, and then Ohio State and
Yeah.
Nebraska, so,
Yeah.
and Wisconsin.
There's not really a rivalry with Pitt and Penn State.
Not anymore.
No, it's gone.
When I went to I'm not going to say what year, but anyway, when I went to school,
1865.
you're going to wear that can. The rivalry was really heavy.
Yeah.
It was heavy.
It was,
Yeah, I remember that growing up, and then
Yeah.
Penn State moved to the Big Ten. And it kind of
Yeah,
fizzled out.
and it fizzled out because there wasn't I guess the schedules.
Was Pitt still independent back then? Because all these conferences weren't available. I mean, they
Yeah.
didn't have all these conferences when I grew up watching.
It was
this
Big
stuff.
East. Yeah, they were
It
all in
was
the Big East.
back then, and then we moved to the ACC. Kind of recently, talking about the span of years, but we recently went to the ACC.
Yep.
But
It's going to come down to like what, maybe 2 or 3 big
2 or 3
major
mega
conferences.
conferences.
That's it.
And I'm pumped. I mean, I'm pumped to have Oregon, Washington, USC,
Oh,
UCLA, and the Big Ten.
It's funny. We got home yesterday from the Oktoberfest, and I turned on the Penn State. Actually, my wife had the Penn State game on, and I'm like, I'm not even going to watch it because I already predicted the outcome that we're going to fucking lose. And that just comes from years of rooting for Penn State. I'm used to the heartbreak.
I mean, as a Philly fan, I'm used to it too.
Dude, I'm telling you what, the Phillies choked this year. They had the team and they choked.
I know. I'm like, just
Yeah.
end it. It's
Yeah,
too painful to watch.
But we were sitting there watching it, and they went into overtime. The USC kicker missed the field goal. Penn State drives 3 straight just to get it centered in the field and makes the field goal. And we were going over to our neighbor Cindy's and Kevin's for a fire, and I was in the living room up above us yelling, "Welcome to the fucking Big Ten USC," and she heard it across the
you
street.
heard it across the street.
And then Sally, my wife, said, Cindy heard that, so I ran outside and said, "We are Penn State." No, I said this grade didn't come just from my wife and kids. It came from rooting for Penn State for 40-some years.
Yeah. I mean, they're so close to being an elite program, and they just got to finish off winning the big games.
They got to
a
win
lot
the
of
big
talent.
games. They don't have Michigan this year, but if they need to get over that hump. So
Yep.
they just beat USC. That was a big hump.
That was a big win.
That was a big win. They got to beat Ohio State, and then they would eventually would have to beat Oregon or Michigan to be in that upper level echelon conversations with the national people.
But I mean, they could even lose to Penn State or Ohio State, and we're probably still going to the college football playoff.
Well,
which
still
is
because
awesome.
now it's expanded to 12.
Yeah. Yep.
Because even if they do lose to Ohio State, it's not going to hurt them that much. But yeah, I don't know. We'll just see.
I want to go undefeated, but
Hey, that'd be freaking
That's
sweet.
tough.
Yeah, it's hard.
anymore.
It's hard to get your hopes up. I mean, there have been games where we're playing Ohio State and we're winning. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to win. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe we will.
If they can beat Ohio State now, as we're recording this next week, they just beat USC. If they can beat
They have a bye
Ohio
next
State,
week.
oh, they do have the bye,
And then they
a
play
second
Wisconsin.
bye.
Yeah, second bye. Then they play Wisconsin. Then they play Ohio State.
Okay, I thought Ohio State and USC were back to back. So I see how much I fucking pay attention. But if they can get past these two big games, even if they lose to Ohio State, but they're competitive, it will help their national recruiting rankings.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh,
will
yeah.
bring people to Penn State, and that's where we're lacking. Is we're lacking the 5-star recruits like Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan,
But remember, they've been
Georgia.
pro programs for well before NIL.
and now we could go down a whole freaking track about NIL. I hate the NIL. I do. It's like free agency for college sports.
You know, I like to see these guys making some money.
They need to make a little money, but not
Yep.
millions of dollars. And going from college to college, who's paying
Yep.
me the most?
There's no salary cap like you have in the pros. The transfer portal, I think, is the biggest thing.
It sucks.
If they were making money off their name, image, and likeness, so they want to, do an advertisement for me or the car dealership or whatever, I'm all for it. Let
Yeah.
these kids use their name, image, and likeness to make money, but just to be paying them to go to school and saying, "Oh yeah, it's NIL."
You're already giving them a free ride with a scholarship.
I know, but they're
And how
working
much-
hard.
I know.
I like seeing them have a little money because
And I
before
agree.
NIL, a lot of these kids were poor. Like they were poor.
Yeah.
They ate at training table. They couldn't afford to go out downtown unless people were buying them drinks. And if the bar owner bought them drinks, that was a violation.
That's a violation.
Yep,
Now, your attorney background. Do you still practice?
I do. I
You
do.
still?
Yep.
So you were still in active practice then?
Yeah, I have a solo practice. I work out of my home. I only do estate planning law.
Estate planning. I was just getting ready to ask what's your forte, because not every attorney has a different line that they want to travel down.
Yeah, law. When people are like, "Can you help me look at this divorce situation or custody or criminal or civil?" I'm like, "No, I do estate planning. That's all I do." I could look at a contract and maybe be halfway useful, but
Like I'm a notary. I'm a Pennsylvania notary. But the only reason I am a notary is if somebody would come into my repair business and they don't want to fix the car.
you sign the title over.
All I want to do is look. I'm a notary. All you got to do is sign here and print here. That's it. So when people come into me and ask, and I still got to go through all the crap that a notary does, that a full notary does.
Keep your book. Yeah.
And
DOC.
I don't want to do that. So people come in, hey, can you notarize this? Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting into that. This is the only reason I have this is so I can just sign the title in front of me and I'm done.
Yep.
But I don't get into that.
Well,
So
and stick to what you're good at. Same with brewing. Same with restaurants. With the food, I thought we'd steer clear of food the whole time. It's one of the best things I've ever done for the business.
we've mentioned that.
But we're doing cheesesteaks, and your option is with or without. And people will be like, "Could I get it with peppers or mushrooms?"
Wit.
No,
Wit.
onions or not.
Come on, you're from Philly. Wit.
Well, I've been living in Central PA for 22 years now.
I know when I mentioned that to my wife, I said, it's wit. She goes, wit? I'm like, yeah, W-I-T. It's wit or without.
With or without.
Yeah.
Give me a water with that.
With it without.
I'm good at drinking beer. Maybe making it, because everybody said they like my beer.
It's pretty good. You do a good job. And,
I'm not looking to go. I mean, we've joked about it, like doing a brick and mortar and brewery, but I'm like, I don't have time for that
I can't
shit.
do that.
No, it's hard work. People,
It's a lot of hard work.
I think I got into the brewing industry and I'm like, okay, it's going to take 10 hours a week. No, it's going to take 60 hours a week, and I'm not brewing the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not cleaning tanks. I'm not washing kegs. I'm strictly doing the business and overseeing tap room and front of house operations. My brewer has it handled. So,
Is it rewarding for you,
yeah, it's awesome.
even though it's a lot more work than you thought?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing success. We're getting recognition. People come in, they tell you how much they love the beer. We were down at that festival. A lot of people were telling me how great they thought the beer was. It's flattering. And to get to meet people, to get to meet other brewers, to get to meet customers that are coming in. It's become my social life. I wish it didn't. But I'm grateful for it at the same time. You know, I've met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
You know, other breweries and then customers that come in. I'll have regulars that only come in for football games, but they're there every day. Every time there's a game, they're in, and it's cool to make that connection.
Have you found that it took away from some of your personal interests?
Yes.
Because I noticed
Absolutely.
you like some of the outdoor stuff, like the skiing and hiking and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And it you don't find a whole lot of time to do that, do you?
I love woodworking. I haven't done any woodworking since I did the woodworking for the brewery. I have a nice shop. I got a lot of equipment that sits there and collects dust most of the time.
That woodworking takes patience and
Yep.
time.
Yeah, I mean, house renovations and things, I love doing them. I've put hardwood floors throughout my house. You know, I'll do everything but cabinetry. I'll do tiles, bathrooms, everything. But yeah, it's taken away from that. I have a Sprinter van that's jacked up.
We see it. It's out
Yeah.
front of our house right now.
Yeah.
It's my work vehicle primarily, so it hauls beer, kombucha, lumber.
You used to haul skis and that kind of shit, right?
I did last winter. I went out west for 5 weeks.
Oh,
and,
that's awesome.
Another kind of brewery connection. You know, I got to meet some brewers out there. So
Some of the big stuff out in Utah, Colorado.
Colorado, I got to ski with the brewer from Outer Range in Frisco, Colorado.
Wow.
I got to know the head brewer in Bozeman at Mountains Walking. And I walk in, I'll take some beer and just kind of have conversations, you know. But I went all through Colorado, Utah, Jackson Hole, Big Sky, and home. I'm probably
you
going to do it
did-
again this winter.
You did that's some freaking traveling. That's a nice area to travel if you're into skiing and
Yeah.
stuff.
And I live out of the van. It's got a shower bed, so it's a multi-purpose vehicle. But that's my one real getaway. You know, I might go down to my parents' shore house in Cape May a couple times this summer, but the ski trip is really my getaway from work.
That's great. And we've mentioned that too. You know, since we started this venture, the connections we've made, the brewers, the people. It's made it worthwhile because you get to know a lot of people, and you know, like we wouldn't have never done a Oktoberfest or something like that if we wouldn't have been doing what we're doing and having them call us and say, "Hey, we're doing this. Do you want to come out and participate?" You know, it makes us feel good.
Yeah, we'll bring you to Hoppy Valley this year. It's
Dude,
a fun time. So
that'd be great.
That'd be great.
I had mentioned the Nashville connection. It's going to be all Nashville artists that are going to play the festival this year. So I'll lean on my buddy to get more people to come up. And I think it'll be a really
I don't know,
nice
3,200
experience.
people. That's a lot more than it was at your Oktoberfest yesterday.
Yeah. But they had a lot of people there, too. Yeah, that place-
There was a lot of
that
people
place
there
was
yesterday, but
Even-
not 3,200.
No, but Beaver Stadium's the perfect venue. They have the parking lots, they have the bathrooms, they have the concession
Yeah.
stands.
That's awesome. And
The infrastructure's there.
packed. Yeah.
that's how this connection started. And you know, like let's talk to him, man. Let's talk more about this and what his anti-fragile is. So we're glad.
What was the name of that place that wanted us down in New Jersey? Yeah. You remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember
it was,
the name of this. They contacted us to come down.
As
to
we
their
so
festival.
our first
Yeah.
brew festival was Brew Kids on the Block 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
We tried to do a live stream from there.
Okay.
It didn't work too well.
Well, it wasn't us. It was the fact that
We have a broadband.
we didn't have a sufficient broadband hookup. And we were using wireless number one, which is the thing
no-go.
that killed it.
Yeah.
And the other thing was we had no idea how many people would be on that connection. It was just, and we couldn't get a word in edgewise, so to speak.
You know, I learned that lesson early on in my tap room where I had to separate off the guest from our main Wi-Fi because we couldn't get our menus to update. We couldn't get music to play. We couldn't get our TV to stream. I mean,
That's where we were.
So,
You have to have a secured one
yeah,
for
yep.
staff only or your business.
I don't even let
operation.
my staff on it.
Yeah,
It's-
just your business operation, and then you have to have an open one for your guests.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to do it. But with that, they contacted us during that stream, like, "Hey, would you come and do this festival?" And it's out near New Jersey. I'm like, well, we're not available.
We were too young, just too small. We're still too young.
And New
We're
Jersey is killing their
travel out of
breweries.
state.
New Jersey is killing their breweries with their legislation.
Oh.
Thankfully, Pennsylvania is really friendly.
Yeah, thank you, Pennsylvania. For once, we can thank Pennsylvania, even though we pay higher taxes than anybody else.
Well, it's
It's
only
true.
a 1.5% sales tax on beer in the tap room.
Is it?
Yep.
And
Yep. So Pennsylvania's really a friendly beer state. They want to see the industry grow, and I'm
well,
thankful
yeah. I
for
mean,
that.
they've grown from 80 some in 2011 to almost
500
900 and some. It was like a year ago.
Oh well, I thought it was like 530.
It may have dropped, but it was at close to 900 some.
Yeah, we have a lot of breweries.
There's a lot of choices.
Yep. Yeah, people are like, who do you like the best? And there's so many good breweries out
Yeah.
there. That was the cool thing. Like I went out to Salt Lake, which is a primarily Mormon state. There is a killer brewery called Templin Family right in Salt Lake, and their lagers are slow poured, big head on them. They're doing a killer job. But anywhere you go, you can find good beer.
So, what's some of your favorites? What do you prefer? If you go to somebody else's brewery, what are you asking for first?
I love a German Pilsner. I used to drink exclusively hazy IPAs. They're like dessert for me now.
Okay.
I go for a light beer. I like a Helles. I like a German Pils, Czech Pils, Italian Pils. I want something that I can have a couple of them and not feel it. Where, you drink 2 or 3 hazy IPAs, you're waking up a little slow the next day.
We're getting to the age I'm waking up slow no matter what the fuck I drink.
But no, I was out to see my buddy perform in Westchester last night. I had Modelo with a lime. That's kind of, if there's no craft beer option, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, and I find that, like, my wife and I went to Outback for dinner, and I'm like, well, just give me the Fosters.
Yep.
I'll do the Fosters. I'm always looking at what craft, if they're carrying any locals.
Yeah.
If they carry a local, I'm gonna try it no matter what it is.
Well,
But-
and these big guys, they're not big because they brew bad beer. They brew that beer perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you go on Untapped and you see, Pabst Blue Ribbon, which is arguably a great American lager,
It
rated so
to
low.
some, to
Well,
some.
well, I mean, for the style, it's spot on.
It is. It's funny because that was a dead beer. It was a
Yeah.
dead beer brand for a long time,
Then it became a hipster brand,
and it became hip because of the college kids.
But there's these big guys. They're not big because they brew bad beer. They're brewing clean, perfect beer pretty much every time. Do I prefer it? No, I like the craft. But
Yeah, give me the craft beer. Like Yingling used to be my go-to,
yep,
and I still will buy a case of Yingling if I don't want to spend $50 on a case of beer, or a Sam Adams Boston Lager. Those are my go-to. But I'll be honest, Yingling's good, but to me it tastes like a light beer because I'm so used to drinking this stuff now.
yep.
It tastes like a light beer. It is still quality beer. There's
yeah.
no doubt about
Yep.
it. Now-
I mean, that's what I learned to drink on, and I think it's because it's so malty and it lacks bitterness. Now
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Yeah. Oh, you
I
do?
still think it's a good beer. It's just I need a little more bitterness to my
And-
beers.
We've talked about that when we go to, and even if we're sitting around here. So this all started from our beer nights because we all would like to craft beer.
And you're probably like, "What if we did a podcast?"
No shit,
And
it
you created
was
a lot of work for
Oh,
yourself.
it was around a fucking fire pit that we were like, dude, we can make a podcast out of our beer nights. But even if we find a beer we don't like,
Yep.
we appreciate what the beer is,
Unless it's a flawed beer.
unless it's fucked up.
Yep.
And I've brewed some fucked up stuff. It's been fucked up, but we still will. No, we're not going to give it the horrible ranking in Untapped, but if we do give it a lower than normal rank,
Yep.
I'm going to explain this is why it's not my style beer, but it is still a quality beer.
Yep. I don't use Untapped.
So your stuff is not on Untapped, or you?
Oh,
do,
it's on Untapped.
but you don't personally use it.
No, I don't go into another brewery and rate their beer. I occasionally I'll throw a 5 at a buddy's brewery or something if I'm having their beer, but I'm not rating it critically. I used to. it's tough. Like the untapped situation, it's great.
It's a social media platform.
Yeah, and it's great in the macro perspective. I think you get large enough numbers, it tells you what quality is. So when I travel, I go to Untapped and I
Look and
where
see
are the
what's good.
highest rated breweries.
Kind of like a Google review.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trust Untapped more for beer than I do Google or Yelp or something like that. But on the receiving end of that, it's people can be vicious.
I know. And we've had how many people in here in studio that said that they do not even look at the Untapped ratings. They hate it for that.
Right.
No, I mean
It's just a personal journey for us.
it's funny, you know, living in State College and having an adult-oriented bar. There's not many of them downtown. I get a lot of players' parents, and we talk about it. It's like, don't look at social media. Don't look at what the pundits are saying. The sports writers, like, you need to block that out.
That's awesome.
But I think the same with Untapped. And, you know, we score really well. People have really received us well. I still don't like it.
I know.
Because, you know, you get the person that says, it's a lager 0.5. Or, you know, you don't like lager. You only like sours. You only like pastry
That's
stouts.
exactly what I was saying. It's like if we give something a lower score, and it's mainly just for our personal reference.
Yep.
But if we score something lower, we're going to explain why. It's like, look, this wasn't my style, but it still had these characteristics, and we appreciate the beer.
Right. Yep.
I do appreciate the beer. Like, you know, I had a kit beer that I did. It was a Kolsch. It was supposed to be a raspberry Kolsch.
Okay.
It got fucked up. It was a raspberry beer.
It was a raspberry sour, huh?
No, it wasn't even sour. It was just raspberry.
Okay.
I mean, you opened the bottle, raspberry. You
Got it.
tasted it, raspberry. And it was dark. So it was not even a Kolsch. It was a Kolsch kit, but it got screwed up.
But I'd imagine some really great beers have come from screw-ups. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
you get a bacteria in there, and now you're, you know...
You got a whole different thing that you were planning. You were pissed. And like, I bottled this, and I would take it to places. Oh, this is good beer. I'm like, dude, it's a fuck up, man. Well, I'd buy this. Well, now you won't because I'm not doing it again.
I don't think you could do it again.
Oh, I can make a mistake again.
You can make a mistake again, but I don't think you can make the same mistake that you made.
Probably not the same mistake.
That turned that out.
No, I love these stories. And we're glad to have you, you know, stop in studio on your way back through.
Yeah, I like this better than online.
And
Oh,
we
my
prefer
goodness.
it so much better
Yeah.
in person. It's so much. Unfortunately, you sold out yesterday. You should have held some back. Like, hey, you got a podcast to do tomorrow. But what you brought us, I mean, was been great.
That's
I mean,
Yeah.
this is, you know, we'd love to have them guys on too and
Tell
just
your
kind of
buddies
tell
that
their
this-
story.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good breweries. And
There's-
I would have grabbed some from Braylock. I would have grabbed some from 10-7. Who else was there? Forest and Maine.
I did Forest and Maine. I did an ESB.
Yep.
And I compared it to theirs. Everything was spot on. Color, profile, palate, mouthfeel, except theirs was a little bit more clear because they're brewing on a professional system.
Yeah.
I was like doing one of these. Yeah, I fucking hit that thing on the money.
Yeah, man, that's a good benchmark.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hidden River had cans, and my buddy was there from Threat, so he had some cans. So I'm like, at least I'll throw some love to people that I admire in the industry. There's
So-
a lot of people to admire.
Do you find these brew festivals help your brand?
We're at the point where we can't keep up being a small producer, so we haven't canned our own beer for sale in our tap room. I'd imagine if we were in distribution, which is never the plan, it might help, or nearby it might help. Beer festivals, I'm going to just kind of get things out. It's fun to network. We don't do many of them, but where I can, if you know there's a good group of breweries that I like, I'll go. You know, I know
go
them
participate
personally. Yeah,
in 'em.
I'll go. But you know, it's not. We're throwing away money when we do it.
Yeah, because it takes it's time. You got to brew some beer to take along in sixtels or cornies or whatever you want to put them in.
Yep.
You're doing it yourself, which it looks like you did this one yourself, or
Yeah,
you
I'm
got to
doing it
pay
myself.
somebody to come do it.
Or my
And-
brewer's going to come down. But
Yeah, and it's a lot of people don't realize. You had mentioned it
it's a
early
lot
on.
of work.
Going into business for yourself, like, you know, I'm going to have all this time. it don't.
No. No, the list of priorities just keeps growing. It's not, you check one off and you got three more.
Yep. If you're not willing to set a goal and achieve that goal and keep moving that goal line ahead, you're not growing.
No. I think Joe Paterno said it. We'll tap Penn State again. Every day you wake up, you're either getting better, getting worse, but you're not staying the same. So we want to get better.
Yeah, and if you fail, it's just a failure. It's okay, that didn't work. What can work to get me past that failure?
Well, and it's been funny. Like, I've been right in the general sense, but when I try to make like individual guesses, I'm wrong just about every time. This night's going to be busy. No, but the next one is.
I tell my staff, all the times, I don't even consider myself their boss. They call me their boss, and technically I am because I'm the one that writes their check.
Right.
But I'm just a cog in the wheel that makes the team work, and I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And when I interview new staff people that were going to become part of the staff, and they'll look at me, and as I'm sitting in the interview, I'm like, I don't make the final decision. They look at me like, what? I said the team makes it.
Yeah.
So I will interview you. We'll have some questions, and then I will bring in the team one-on-one and sit down with you, and I leave the room.
It's a great idea. Are they a good fit?
And they make the decision whether I hire that person or not.
Right.
Because if I hire somebody and it's not a perfect fit on the team, it's not going to work.
Right.
And they look at me like that deer in the headlight look. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I don't make the decision. Every decision I make in the business, my team's participated in.
Yeah, that's smart. I don't do things that way. I should start. And that's the thing. Like, I think if you're curious and you want to learn, you're going to make mistakes. And if you're willing to learn from them and keep an open mind, you can do really well.
Like WD-40. You know how that name came about?
No.
So the formula was called water displacement. And it took 39 tries until the 40th one worked. So that's why you got WD-40. I mean, look how many times Thomas Edison failed to make a light bulb. 100?
No.
Before he got it right?
I don't know that story. But
So every failure is not a complete failure. It's just,
Right.
okay, that didn't work. Let's plan on the next one to achieve that goal.
yeah, I mean, we're constantly tweaking. I'm a
Exactly.
huge fan of live music. We tried to get live music to work in our tap room. It's not the right venue for it.
Right.
Well, maybe on the farm brewery we can do an amphitheater and it works, but
And
I'd
you know what?
rather pay a $5 cover to hear somebody than throw away money in my business.
Yeah, and I think that's smart, like you just said. I mean, not everything will work to get people in your tap room.
Right.
Having food is a big thing. We've talked to brewers that had food or didn't have food, and the ones that don't have food, either they have a food truck or they don't.
Right.
Your idea as a business owner in your industry is to keep people in that seat.
Yep.
The longer they're in that seat, the more money they're going to spend.
Put beers in bellies. That's
Yeah, and that's what. And if you don't have a food option, that is something you definitely need. And we're going to have to come up and get a wit cheesesteak.
With
But you're not getting Whiz. You're getting Cooper Wit.
All right, I'm all right with that. I like liquid gold too, so you could pour all that liquid gold over me, man. I love that shit.
well, I grew up the same way you did. We had Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz
Yeah.
was always at our
That was part of my wife's vows. She goes, "I'll do everything and anything as long as it don't involve Cheese Whiz."
I like how she calls it plastic cheese.
Plastic
She
cheese.
calls it plastic cheese. I think that's.
I mean, we try to avoid anything that's. We try to be as natural as possible. So we do a craft cocktail program where we're not doing it on draft. We're crafting each cocktail. There's a lot of great Pennsylvania distilleries
there's
that we can
plenty.
use. But we juice our juices every fresh for the weekend. We use honey syrup, not simple syrup, because we want to use a better sugar versus using refined sugar. So
Do you-
I wasn't going to put Whiz on a steak.
Come on.
No.
If I come out and request it, can you put it on?
Nope. And if you want ketchup or mayo, bring your own.
He said with or without.
Yeah, you get it with onions or without.
I will admit, if you order a wit cheesesteak, you don't need any ketchup. You don't need any mayo. Even though I'm a mayo and ketchup kind of guy when it comes to a steak, but yeah, when you get that You don't need it.
You get a good
Especially when the
quality
soup Nazis there telling you,
Move
Move to the
along.
side.
Yeah, yeah. Those Philly steak shops, they do huge business, but yeah, they got to keep that line.
They gotta
yeah,
keep it
Geno's and Pat's, man. I've never been to Geno's and Pat's. We've been there as a riding group, and I wasn't able to go that day. But I did go to Tony Luke's, and that was my first experience, and it was quite the experience.
Oh yeah, yeah.
John, this has been fucking awesome.
Thanks.
We were
yeah, it's
glad-
been fun. I'm glad I was able to come in.
We're
glad
glad
you
to
were.
have you come in here. Dave, any comments?
No, I just think this is great. I tell you the beer. You tell your buddies.
I wish I could bring my own,
It's
but
good. Your beer was good, and just tell them that I am not an anti hop, but I'm not just high on hops, but
Yep.
even the beer that they had.
Yeah, because he drank them. I even
It-
filled him up a second time,
Yeah,
and
this-
you drank it.
Yeah.
And that's the one I didn't think you would drink.
yeah. I actually enjoyed this one better than the second one, even though they both were hoppy. But
oh, they're both great, just
They're
different
both great
styles, but
beers.
they're hop treats.
yeah. Just
Dessert
Yeah,
for you.
good dessert. Yep,
yeah. When you see them again, just tell them that we thought they were great.
great. Hopefully, they'll listen to the podcast and then
Yeah.
come on.
Tell them to listen to the podcast and say just watch the grumpy old guy on the left. See how
John, tell us a little bit again. Once who you are, who you're with, where they can find you.
Yep. So I am John Schaefer. I am the owner of Anti-Fragile Brewing Company. We're located downtown at 324 East Calder Way in State College. The only way to get our beer is to come to the tap room, unless you catch me out at a festival. Or
And
something.
I got you up here at antifragilebrew.com.
Yep, antifragilebrew.com.
And you can find your on social media. It's the same thing.
I think our social media might be Anti-Fragile Brew Co., but look for the Hydra.
Okay. Look for the Hydra. This has been great, but we got one more sitting here. And again, it's not yours. It's from Hidden River, correct?
Yep, German Pilsner, one of my favorite
So
styles.
this is a Pilsner. So this is going to be very light, crisp,
Yep.
with a little bit of malt.
Hop
back.
bitterness. Yeah,
Yep,
nice
little
hop
bit.
bitterness.
Yep. So we appreciate you, John, coming out here. This has been a fantastic thing. We're glad you took the time to stop by studio and do this in person rather than a remote recording. If you're out there, let's make sure you can visit Anti-Fragile. And we are
Penn State.
Penn State. So if you're out there, we're going to raise a glass with
I'm not
John.
joining in on that. I'm
You're not
sorry.
chiming in on that? If you're out there, we're going to raise a glass with John and Anti-Fragile Brew Company in State College. And let's all be bonded by
By
beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Boys.